So this is a story about the first person who I knew who made it to TV. It was America's Most Wanted.
Whoa.
This kid, I met this kid in 89 or 90. I was in first grade. He was in kindergarten, so he's my brother's year. And he was the only other Indian kid in the neighborhood, right? And my parents, the first time he came over to our house, when he was leaving, my mom was like, "I don't want you ever hanging out with that kid again."
Damn. And where's this at? What's it?
This is in South Sacramento. This is Elk Grove, California. It's like 20 minutes outside of Sacramento.
Gotcha.
And it's a very like white flight neighborhood. So it's like everybody whose neighborhoods started getting a little too ethnic, they created their own. This is how every community starts.
Gotcha.
That's how Summerlin became that way, because the good neighborhoods started becoming dark for them, and so they're like, all right, we got to start over again, and only allowing certain minorities in, right? And so if you got enough money, you can get in. We had just enough money to get in, but then we couldn't use like the dishwasher or the air conditioner or anything like we didn't have cable and so we had just enough money to get there, but then like barely enough money to sustain being there. And so this was the second Indian family that moved in. And
I know at first y'all was a little lit, like, oh snap, we got some neighbors, y'all come look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I realized like the only people that we ever hung out with was like the Black, Mexican, and Asian. Like there was no white families that ever let us over, and like they wouldn't come over to our place. It probably doesn't help that we had a schizophrenic uncle living at our house. Man, we should have talked about that instead. I have
schizophrenic uncle.
Oh, I got so many stories about that. But yeah, so this kid, he takes off, and my mom's like, yo, I don't want you ever hanging out with that dude again. And I was like, yo, that's weird that, like, there's no other Indian people here. So my parents were like, yo, we'd rather you lose your identity as an Indian person than hang out with that Indian person. And they had incredible foresight, because years later, he ends up on America's Most Wanted. And we all tuned in. Like, we knew, like, we're like, yo, man, this is gonna be the episode. And then like in between, they're about to cut to commercial, and they're like, if you've seen this man or if you have any information, and they have like his police sketch and his picture, and it's like, why do you need both? Like, who's gonna see him and be like, he looks like the police sketch I saw?
That sketch artist is really good.
It was wild, man. Like there was a huge reward.
So, would you pick up the phone? What'd you do?
Well, dude, we all knew exactly where he was, because he wasn't trying to make it a secret either, right? So here's what happened. So he ended up on America's Most Wanted because in broad daylight, so the Sikh temple in Sacramento coordinated with a bunch of other Sikh temples, and they started like a youth group basketball league, like a tournament, right? Same way like any like Christian centers do over here.
Right. Church league, that's what we call it.
Yeah, exactly.
Church
so
league.
They started like little church league just with a bunch of little turban head dudes. And like Indian kids were going real hard on basketball, especially at that time. And so this had been like 2006, I want to say. And so his enemy was going to be at that tournament.
Gotcha.
So he showed up to the tournament in broad daylight, gunned him down.
Damn.
With two of his buddies, and then they try to escape. They get both of his friends. He somehow gets out, right, and makes it to India. And
so
that's
run.
why we already know exactly where he was.
Damn.
Because he was Facebook messaging us all. Like, hey, what's going on, blah, 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 whatever.
He just made y'all accessories and
dude,
shit.
when I started doing stand-up comedy, he's still in my DM, and he was like, hey, I saw that you're doing comedy now. That's awesome. You've always been really funny. And I'm like, dude, you're the most famous person I've ever met. Like, so how it all started was there was this party in San Jose, and he was trying to look cool when he was leaving that party, right? So he put a gun out the window of his Escalade, and he popped off a couple of shots. But he's a monkey, and he forgot to aim up. And so he shot down, and one of those bullets ricocheted, and it landed in somebody's leg.
Damn.
Right. The leg of the kid that it landed in was, his dad was the owner of a trucking company in Northern California. Well, the shooter's dad also owned a trucking company in Northern California. And just by luck, those two companies didn't like each other. So dads already had beef with each other.
Damn. Yeah,
and now the son accidentally shot the other son. So dad of the shooter is like, he calls dad of the victim, and he's like, look, man, we don't want to let this get like spent out of control.
Yeah.
Like, let's make this go away. Let's bury it right now. I'll give you $1 million to just leave my son alone.
Oh shit.
And he goes, how about I give you $1 million and you let me shoot your kid?
Damn.
And he goes, well, looks like this shit ain't going away. So now for the next couple years,
How much shit is that?
like the victim recovers, finds out where the shooter's gonna be, shows up with his boys, like jump him, and then that goes back and forth for a couple years until this incident where kid I grew up with shows up to the temple and just guns him down in broad daylight in front of children and everything. So now the feds know that he has his dad has a trucking company and they have a lot of connections in Canada. Any Indian person you know has a lot of connections in Canada. Like, that's just part of the territory. So they beef up security on the Canadian border, and they're like inspecting trucks, and they couldn't find him. The reason why they couldn't find him is because he got on a truck and went to Mexico, and then flew from Mexico to India.
Is this the story that's on America's Most Wanted?
Yeah.
Damn.
So now he flies out of Mexico to India, and India won't extradite. So he's just chilling in a village in India, living like a king because they're making money hand over fist in Sacramento off of this trucking company, right?
Damn. It's like some Breaking Bad shit right here.
Tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
So now the feds are trying to turn over every stone that they can, trying to find this dude, trying to find a way to get him back into the United States or just trying to get him slipping in any way. And as they're doing that, they find out that the dad has been using the trucking company as a cover to run cocaine from Mexico to Canada.
Damn.
So they pop him, right? And he's like, no, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I don't have any control over what my drivers are doing behind my back. And like he tries to play the innocent card. And now he starts beefing up lawyers because they got the money. They don't know how to wash it. They have too much of it. And so they're like, all right, we can get these badass lawyers. And so like the state is trying to build a case, but they're like, we got nothing. There's no way that we can do anything against the people that he's hiring. So then one day a random home invasion happens, and dad opens the door. Son's in India on the run still. Dad opens the door. This guy just comes in, guns down the dad. He dies instantly on the scene. Puts one in his mom's chest. She survives. She goes to the ICU. His sisters hear the commotion. They run upstairs to the panic room and they hide out until the coast is clear. Because the whole family knew that something was going to go down one day, right? So they had like a routine. So now his dad's having a funeral. He can't go to his dad's funeral because he can't step foot on American soil. His mom can't go to the funeral because she's in the ICU recovering. And this is all because of him. Like,
this is a little dude from the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Jeez.
This is all just because of his decisions. Like how one little bad choice turns into something so much bigger. And now he finally got caught at India. Like he started doing like naughty stuff in India, and they're like, "Well, we heard they want you in America, so why should we use our assets to penalize you here when they want you for murder over there, and we'll never have to worry about you again." So now he's serving 3 consecutive life sentences with 0 parole.
Damn.
No chance of anything.
Damn.
And dude's like, he thinks he made it. Like to him, this was like mission accomplished. This is what he's always wanted. Like this has given him like, this has validated everything.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Charlie Wilson, man. I just want to take a minute to say thank you. I just want to say thank you for supporting and liking and sharing the videos to our podcast, Do Tell with Laugh After Dark. Make sure you subscribe and stay connected. I'll see y'all soon.